Amen.
We are so privileged to have another year in which to celebrate this great feast of the coming in the flesh of our Lord and God and Saviour Jesus Christ. The Feast of Nativity, or as some people call Christmas today. Truly we are blessed to have this period, and I'll tell you why in a moment. This week we received several letters from our spiritual father telling us about his current life and the sort of things that we should be doing and what sort of things lay ahead. And in all these things, he spells out to us in big letters the word freedom. Freedom. This little chapel, this little parish that we have here, very few of them in the world today, maybe small monasteries, small skits, and perhaps a few other small little parishes around the world, try to serve Christ in freedom. You may ask, freedom from what? We can come and go. We can do all these things, whatever we want. Trouble is, it's not that. It's not so simple anymore. Listen to what was read in the Gospel today. And tell me, in this period that we have just witnessed, where the world celebrated Christmas with all their shopping and their sales and all things, out of which church, whether it would be Protestant or Catholic or whatever, were you told about how the Jews, the scribes and the Pharisees, gathered together to destroy the Messiah that was born? How many told you about that? Listen to what the Gospel says. And these are not my words, but those of the Bible. Herod, after he secretly called the Magi, inquired carefully of them the time of the appearing of the star. And he found out that it was around about a year and a half to 2 years. So what does he do? This Jew with the scribes and the Pharisees. He goes and slaughters something like 40,000 babies, 2 years and under. That's the sort of thing that you don't hear about in the churches anymore on this feast day of Nativity or Christmas. That while Christ, God, humbles himself to such a point that he is willing to step off the throne of his glory in heaven and become a babe and be born of human flesh, suffering flesh, fallen flesh, flesh that feels pain and all the other sorts of things that we humans feel. He humbles himself to such an extent that even the angelic realm can't really understand what's going on. There's sort of confusion amongst them. They come and they chant different angelic hymns, but they can't really understand this humility, that God would become a human being. And not just a human being, but be prepared to be born as a babe. And when his mother and the elder Joseph, 80 years plus, came into Bethlehem to find a room for the birth, the innkeeper, a real stoop, saw a pregnant lady and said, go into the manger where the animals are. That's how they treated people the Jews in those days. Who would do that today? Surely one of the people occupying a room, or maybe even the innkeeper himself, would have said, please, have my room for the night, and I will go and sleep somewhere else. No, he forces a pregnant lady to go and live with the animals. That's the extent upon which the Jews think of Christ, like an animal. They started from the very beginning, even before his birth. Okay, so let it be. The shepherds saw something very strange here and rejoiced because they saw the angelic host, and also came to do homage to Christ, not being fooled by all the things that were happening outside. As soon as they could, Christ's mother, the little child, and elder Joseph found themselves a house and stayed in there. During this period, after 40 days of birth, she went to the temple as was required for the purification prayers after giving birth. After the priests there said that prayer over her, she went and stood with the virgins. And this so riled the scribes and the Pharisees again, because they knew something was happening that shouldn't be happening according to their ways. But it showed also that she was indeed a virgin even after birth. The great commotion occurred, of course, when the Magi came with their entourage. All of Jerusalem was shaken. Who are these people? What do they come for? Why are they here? We've never seen anything like this. It is very, as they say, oriental to us. And Herod inquires of them, why did you come? And they said, to do homage to the King which is born. Oh really? Where? What? Tell me so I can go and do homage to him. But secretly he wants to destroy him. And thus these Magi are warned to not go that way, but to depart another way. Another way. Already prefiguring that the people that are going to come to Christ will come to him another way and worship him another way. Not the way that the Jews worshipped, who wanted to destroy all this. Even the demonic horde sort of left this thing alone, because they could never ever consider that God would lower himself to the point of becoming a man. So that sort of tricked them. And that was the trick that would later on at his crucifixion and his death destroy their realm. Our spiritual father writes how important it is to say these sorts of things today. To have people understand what is true orthodoxy, because the orthodoxy that is presented today in the open places does nothing especially for the youth. And he laments. He is dying from Parkinson's disease. He can't get up. His speech is failing him, but his mind is sharp. And he says that nobody is feeding the youth today with true orthodoxy. With true orthodoxy. The magazine that he publishes for the Russians has stopped, and he doesn't know why. But he believes it's because the Russian people no longer want to know about true orthodoxy, the orthodoxy that the Holy Fathers and the Holy Mothers bore, of the saints, the miracle workers, the ascetics, the professors, and all those sorts of things. And thus the youth go on and become only more confused in their life than they already are. Look around yourself and look at the world, not only amongst the Orthodox youth, but especially outside. Everybody's bumping into each other, trying to find out what, why, how, what is truth, what is the true way to be things, how do we understand? And people say this and people say that, and no one knows. And that's because they do not turn to the deliverer of the truth, our Lord Jesus Christ and the Holy Church. On the contrary, they continue to slay Christ in various ways and prepare for that one that is coming, which they will accept. If in a couple of years they can accept a murderer like Mandela and have the whole world bow down to him, how easy it would be to find an antichrist and have the whole world bow down to him. The antichrist servants are already in their places, in all the main political areas, in all the main financial areas, in all the main areas of power, and wherever there is ability to do something, his servants are there already. And many of their names we know because we can find them. And many we don't know also. So all they have to do is bring this person onto the stage of the world, and the whole world will bow down to him. And then they will start to actually kill Christians, whoever they might be, of any confession, whether they be Orthodox or whatever. They have started already in some parts of the world. And the world has witnessed the same sort of things during the reign of communism, where 60 million were destroyed because of their faith. So the precedence is already there. It's not a new thing that I am saying to you. I'm just passing on to you factual things from history, and also factual things from the Gospel and the Holy Fathers and Mothers that have made commentary about it for us, and the factual things that are happening around you in the world. Some of you, I know, research this in detail, and our spiritual father said, you must do that, because nobody else does that. Research it from the point of orthodoxy, while we have this freedom in these little secret chapels, skits and monasteries. He is so worried about his own monks because he knows that they are under the authority of a bishop that is going to very soon demand the land that they pray on. What is it with bishops? Always want land. They're supposed to be monks. They're supposed to have nothing. Nothing is to belong to them. They're the ones that have totally given up everything. Even the clothes that they wear shouldn't belong to them. And always wanting land. They put Archbishop John, the Holy One, on trial. They did, because they wanted land, money, and all these sorts of things. It's like some sort of absurdity, a disease. The minute they become a bishop, there's this desire for all these sorts of things, which are the wrong things in life. That's not what Christ came to give us, neither on his nativity, nor in his teaching. He didn't come to give us power to seek land and money and all those sorts of things. On the contrary, he said, give all that away and come follow me, and you will have treasures in heaven. In any case, we are rejoicing because we have had the ability to see another nativity of our Lord Jesus Christ. This great mystery where God becomes one of us forever, teaches us, walks with us, talks with us, and gives us the truth that the people in those times were not able to work out from the Old Testament. Continually going on the wrong path, continually wrecking things up. There it was in black and white, written for them over and over again. And instead they come and destroy the Messiah from whom they hoped salvation would come. Do you hear these things during this Christmas period? Do you hear what's happening? Do you hear why Christ came and who Christ is? Do you hear all those things? On the contrary, after whatever they say, in the end they say, well, who is Christ? That means everything they've done is of no value. Because if they don't know who Christ is, then everything else is of no value. In the Gospels, in the way you live, the way you do things, and the way you believe is of no value if you don't know who Christ is. Because that's the key thing. If his birth confused the angels and totally blew out the mind of the demonic realm, then I guess there is some justification for not knowing who he is. But if you're of the Orthodox faith, you have to know who he is, and you have to live a life according to the way he set out. The other thing that our spiritual father wrote to us is he said we live in very dark times, meaning that all these teachings about true Christianity, true orthodoxy, are no longer progressing through the world. And therefore, you here in freedom, who dare to come to this little place and walk through the gates down there and through the wood pile and everything and step over snakes in summer, have a obligation yourselves to spread this word and to live according to it in your own lives, not taking any notice of how all these big cathedrals and all these things in the world are doing their thing on Christmas. So many incredible things I have mentioned to you which you need to look in more detail and understand how they impact upon your own life. For example, when the Magi offered them gold and frankincense and myrrh, these had significant meanings in the life of Christ. From the material point of view, those gifts have been preserved. And some of our parishioners today, right now, are rejoicing to be able to see them on Mount Athos, because that's where they are kept. The gold, the frankincense and myrrh which were given to Christ is kept on Mount Athos. God help us in these dark times and to preserve this freedom that we have. Don't be put off by powerful people who say to you, oh, you can't be doing that, or this is not right, or this is not canonical, or this is not the accepted way today. Don't be put off by that. But look at the way the Holy Fathers and Mothers lived and what they did, and you'll get your answers there. Because all we're trying to do in this little way is to preserve that and help us in many ways. We have many, many obligations here, many candles to be made, we need oil, we need wine, we need all these sorts of things. Help us in whichever way you can, and others who might be doing something similar. And you indeed will be putting treasures for yourself in heaven. God help us through this nativity and to see another one in the coming year. And pray for our spiritual father, who I think will die this year. And he already pretty much paralysed, and is going back to his monastery, he said, to die and be buried there. God preserve us, protect us, and may we have this joy of the true nativity in our lives forever. Amen. Let us say with our